Hey there, welcome back to yet another episode in this series where we discuss various approaches and techniques for attempting questions from paper 2. In this session, we will discuss or devise our own strategies for dealing with drafting related questions in the paper 2. Before we get into it, let's clarify a couple of things. First, is it really possible to draft a patent application in an hour's time? Answer is absolutely no. Then why is Patent Office asking you to draft a patent application? What could be the objective behind it? Answer is simple. Patent Office is not looking at you to draft a champion patent application in the examination. Their intention is to check whether you know what all information goes into a patent application and do you have the knowledge about how to structure the patent application. To evaluate that, they provide you a well-written invention disclosure, which has all the information about the invention but is not structured properly. So can you pick and choose, copy and paste information from this disclosure, from the question, and plug it in various sections of the patent applications? So it's literally an open book exam where the information is there in front of you. All you need to know is to identify where this information will go and sit in a patent application. As you attempt the question, you need to quickly go over the disclosure statement to identify what kind of information is given and how can you plug that information in the sections of an application. But what are these sections that we are talking about? So the patent application is divided into these many sections. You have title, field of the invention, background of the invention, summary of the invention, description of drawings, detailed description of the inventions, then comes the claim that provide you the coverage of the invention, and the abstract. So the information that you pick and choose from the question should go into one of these sections. That's what the Patent Office wants you to do. So how do we identify what information goes into what section? Let's go over the requirement of these sections. So a title is usually limited to 15 words and is indicative of the subject matter of the invention. It discloses specific feature of the invention. Here is one format for the title. A method and apparatus for. Could be a method and apparatus for managing a database. Could be a title. Let's move to the next section, which is the field of the invention. Now the field of the invention is a general statement which indicates broadly the subject matter that the invention deals with and more specifically what is the invention about? Confused a bit? I'll give you a format for it. So it is written like this. The invention generally relates to database management. More specifically, the invention relates to efficiently managing the database using one or other techniques that they have provided. This would be your field of the invention. You need to identify a portion of the disclosure that is provided you which sounds like this or which can meet the requirement of this particular section that we are dealing with. Moving on, we go over to the next section, which is the background of the invention. Now the background of the invention takes you through the state of the technology as of now, what kind of solutions are already available, what are the problems associated with those solutions, and what is the pain point that you are trying to solve basically. You are setting a ground for your invention. Why do we need your invention? Usually the background ends with there is therefore a need for a method and system for providing an efficient manner of managing a database. And then you go ahead with the next section, which is the summary of the invention. Now the summary of the invention as it sounds is actually a concise summary of your specification. So in the disclosure form that you receive as a question, you would find a couple of paragraphs which are talking in general about the invention without going into the detailed description or implementation detail of the invention. This gives out details about what the invention does, how it does, what all components are there without going too much details into the components or any other aspect of it. You copy paste that part and make it as summary of the invention. So how do you start this particular section? One of the format is this. According to the invention, there is provided a method and apparatus for. You find details that would go here or something that would meet the requirement here. Once summary is done, we move on to the drawing section. It is nothing but a placeholder for providing brief description about the figures which are provided to you. There could be multiple figures which would be provided to you. You just need to take the headings of those figures and put it here. How do we put it? So figure 1 is a diagram that illustrates an apparatus for. Figure 2 is a diagram. So all this is copy pasted from the question itself. The question would have one of these languages. So as many figures are there, you put as many lines for those figures. Moving on, we go about providing the detailed description of our invention. So identify the portions of the question which are talking about referring to figure 1, the system, the method, moving on, referring to figure 2. Like this, they would go over the figures by providing exact implementation detail about your apparatus or system or method that they are providing you with. So to start this section, we usually use this template point. The present invention will now be described in detail with reference to accompanying drawings and claims. And then we again use the placeholder for figure 1 to describe what figure 1 is, and then go ahead with the entire description that is provided for figure 1 in the disclosure question that is there with you. So with this copy pasting, you will be done with the detailed description. Moving on to the claims part. Now again, can you actually write a claim in 10-15 minutes that are provided to you? The patent office is not looking at you to provide a champion claim. All that they are looking at you is to understand whether you know how to structure a claim, what information goes into the claim. So they are not evaluating whether your claim is novel or obvious or will it be granted or not. So let's move on to the claim section. So as we know, claim describes the scope of the invention. What exactly are you protecting? And it defines the invention using novel features to achieve the objective or purpose of the invention that is there. So how do we start the section of the claim? Usually we start with I/we claim, we provide the independent claim, and then we also provide a dependent claim. The format could be the apparatus as claimed in claim 1, wherein any feature that you would want to describe more is what you have a dependent claim for. Now remember, we discussed that the patent office is actually trying to test your knowledge with regards to the structure of a claim. So what is the structure of a claim? So a claim consists of 3 parts. Something called preamble, then there is a transitional phase and a body. Now preamble is nothing but what are you claiming? A method, an apparatus, a system for doing something. What is transitional? So you say a method for doing something wherein the method comprises. So that comprises or comprising or including or includes are nothing but the transition phase, which is leading the claim into the body of the claim. Now what is the body of the claim? Body of the claim actually talks about the elements of the system that you were claiming or the method steps that you wanted to claim. Again, these information would be amply clear from the question itself. In fact, the summary section that you write will actually sound like a claim to you. So far with me? Let's move on to the last section, which is the abstract of the invention. Now the abstract is limited to 150 words and it should describe the technical field, the technical problem that you are solving and the solution that is provided by your invention. You can pick abstract from the summary section itself, but try to keep it to 150 words. That should meet your purpose. So how do we start the abstract? Something like this. The invention relates to a method and apparatus for. So are you still worried about the patent drafting question? Please be not. Because it is nothing but an open book exam where the entire information is provided to you. All you have to do is identify the relevant information from the disclosure that is given to you and plug that in. Cut, copy, paste that in the relevant sections of the patent application. So this is all patent office is trying to evaluate, whether you can create a nicely structured patent application using the information provided to you. So are we ready to attempt a few questions with the techniques and approaches that we learned in this session? So tune into the next set of videos where we will go over multiple questions from previous years and try to see whether our technique or approach can help us or not. I'll see you there in those videos then. Take care.